Hey patrons, how's it going? Jason here, hanging out with you. I'm gonna do a behind-the-scenes video for you guys. It's been a little while since I uploaded something here, so I wanted to give you some really cool behind-the-scenes stuff here. So I've been meaning to actually do an update video because there's a whole bunch of new stuff that's going on, but really the most important part is HorizonShift is being launched on the 29th. It is the 14th right now, so we are on the fast track to launch, and I'm really excited for it. Last night I did a live stream. A few of you that are patrons here were there, and I really appreciate that. We had a really fun time. I showed basically like 2.5 hours of the game, and I talked about it, did like little tutorials on it. It was a really cool night. We had a lot of fun. But what I want to do now is I want to show you guys some behind the scenes sound design that I'm doing on the UFO boss. So what's really cool is this is the 4th boss in the game. This is the boss just before the last boss, which is really cool. So if you work really hard and get up here to this point, you're rewarded with a really cool UFO, a lot of really cool elements to the UFO boss battle, and a new element to the game where it actually shoots balls back at you, like the breakout balls in the bonus round, and you have to then hit those balls with your paddle, and they shoot back at the UFO. And it's the only way to break down the UFO shield is by hitting it with these breakout balls, which is really cool. So here's a footage of it, just so you guys can see what we have so far here. UFO has landed. I'll show you just a little bit of it here. So this is with the shield down. Oh, damn it. So hard. Oh, great, I get to restart it. Show it here. UFO has landed. Oh, where's it there? Start me here. There we go. Alright, so the UFO shows up, and it has a shield on it. Kind of give you an idea of what's going on here. Very cool. Sound as it approaches. There's a shield. So the shield goes away, then you attack it with your normal bullets here. I'll show you what happens next when the next phase of the battle happens. Shield goes up, you cannot attack it. Check this out, the only way to damage him now is to hit him with the ball. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So then shield's broken, the shield. New phase. And then from there, you can then go back and attack it. As you see, we have some yellow bullets now coming out, so it's a new phase of it. So what I'm designing for now is I'm designing a sound that will happen when you hit those breakout balls back at the UFO. Paul came up with a really cool concept to have these balls attack it, but I'm on, here we go. What's really cool is the sound. There is no sound for when you hit the ball back. He made it when the ball hits the ground, they form a spike. See, he made it so you hit the ball, it turns red, it shoots off a lot quicker, and it has this really cool trail effect on it. So I want to create a sound for that, and I wanted to show you guys how I go about doing that right now, which is really cool. So what we have here, and I already pulled up a few sounds that I knew in my head that I wanted to use and put through. I have a cannon shot, which I've turned off all the effects in that. I kind of messed with it a little bit earlier, so I'll show you guys pretty much the completed project here. But I have this cannon blast, which is really cool. Turn this up, which is some like old school kind of World War type cannon sound. All right, and that I like that because it's going to give us the bottom end that I'm looking for. It's going to give us kind of the depth and the actual trail of that that ball being launched back. It has an initial impact. Then as you can hear, it has a nice long trail at the end of it. So what's really nice is to have that there to give us that bottom end. Then I wanted a little bit more ambience in there, so I had this cannonball kind of whiz by sound, which is what I'm using that for is to simulate speed, which the ball does gain speed, it turns red, it moves quickly, so I needed something to simulate that it is moving quicker, and that's what this sound does. All right, and I also sped it up quite a bit. I changed the pitch on it so that it cuts through the mix a little bit better. So with the cannon blast and the cannonball with sound, now we can hear it has a low end. You definitely hear the impact, and then you hear the sound of it moving. So now I have emulated the moving sound. And now all we really need is the impact sound. And what I'm using for the impact sound is actually a rifle shot. And what this is going to do is going to give us that initial impact, that shot. It's going to allow us to feel like when you hit that ball back with the paddle, you really are creating a huge impact on that ball, and it's going to shoot off a direction. So this is what it sounds like by itself. All right, and it was a long trail, and there was shell casing sounds and all that, so I chopped it up. I sped it up a little bit, and I changed the pitch on it as well so that it cuts a little bit nicer. So with them combined in there, the cannon blast, the ball, or the shot, the cannon blast, and then the cannonball whizzing by, we have a sound that sounds a little bit like this, which I think is perfect for something like that. You know, we're at a point in the game now, it needs to be something super epic. So that battle is epic as it is. So with this happening, I think people are going to really feel like they're doing some damage and attacking that boss. Now, next step is to mix this a little bit, because obviously the sounds that I have in there, I don't really like the way that they sound too much. I need to be able to have it cut in the mix, and I also need to get rid of some frequencies that are causing us some trouble. The first one, of course, is this low sweetener, the cannon blast, which is good and everything, but I want to get rid of some frequencies in there because I need it to cut. So as you can see, what I'm doing here is I've gone through and I've brought down, you know, not a whole lot, but I've definitely bumped it up here in the mid-range and high frequencies, but basically I've cut down about 4 dB and kind of the 100 hertz range. So I've pulled that down, which is going to allow us to have more room for impact sounds, going to allow us to have a little bit more of the music cut through at that point. And so it just doesn't make the battle all muddy. Now the sound doesn't happen a lot, I know, but I still want it to sound good and cut through. So with that being in there, my EQ, now I've bumped it up quite a bit, kind of in the 400 hertz range, right around 2 kilohertz. I've bumped it quite a bit, and then I brought out the treble and really bumped it up there. I've got almost about 6 dB with a little taper there at about 10K, but I've really brought up that high end there to let that cut through. So with that being said, listen to this. All right, so here's with it. Here's without it. I mean, you can definitely hear, here's with it. You can definitely hear with the EQ mix in there that you have a lot more, kind of in that trebly, you know, 1K range, which is nice. I really wanted the trail sound out of this. So by EQing it like this, I now get the trail sound, which is pretty prominent, which is what I want. All right, from there, we've got the rifle shot. I love the way the rifle shot sounds. All I really wanted to do with it is add a doubler to it to give it a really nice stereo image. And this is a little trick that I like to do on some of my effects, which really, if you're wearing headphones, and I know a lot of gamers wear headphones, so this is kind of a little a high five to everyone who wears headphones, because you're going to hear some of these sounds, and they're going to sound, the stereo image is really, really cool. And I'm just doing that to give the headphone people some fun. So here's the gunshot without it. All right, and then what I'm doing is I'm actually putting a doubler on there, and I'm doubling the frequencies at different dBs, at different levels. So our left and right channel now has, it's basically, it's a stereo track, but the left and right are now going to be different volumes and different pitches. You see I've pitched them differently. So one side is lower, one side is higher. And then we also have different frequencies in there. So then with that, it sounds like this. If you're wearing headphones, it's going to be cool. All right. Here's without it. You hear how it just sounds dead center without it. And then with it, you actually hear the separation. you actually hear that separation. It sounds really neat. I can widen that too. I can make that quite a bit wider if I wanted to, which I may do down the road. I don't know. We'll see. I like that as it is there. It's solid. I don't want it too separated because you are hitting just a single ball, and I don't want that to sound like, you know, you're hitting multiple. So there's that. And then I haven't really touched this Cannonball Whiz. I really like the way this sounds as it is. There's really not a whole lot that I'm going to need to do to that, I don't think. I'm going to throw an EQ on it. And I'm going to cut out all of the low end in case there's anything stuck in there that might not work. Let's bring this up a little bit. Let's bring up that. So let's give it a little bit more whiz-by sound. Oh yeah, see, I'm loving that already. So the Cannon Blast. Let's bump this up. Let's take that out. So I'm basically I'm doing a high-pass filter on this. I'm cutting everything from really about 500 hertz down and getting rid of it because we don't need it. The sound doesn't need it. But what we do want is everything from about 1K up. You see, I've started to climb up all the way up to almost about 5 dB in the 5K range. And you can really hear, let me mute that. So here's without the EQ. Here's with the EQ. Quite a bit different, and you can really hear the pace, the speed at that point. So now let's combine all three of them here. That's pretty good. That shot is very aggressive, and I like that a lot. It gives you the feeling that you're really doing something. But it kind of masks this Cannonball Whiz sound. So let's relocate that. Let's move it around and see if we can find a better spot for it. As you can hear, it's already getting a bit better. I'm moving it. I'm staggering it to the right a bit so you can hear more of it later. Basically, let the gun and impact be at first, and then let the trail be behind it. That's pretty good. Now what I can do from here is I can make this a little bit longer. Let's see if make it a little longer. That could be cool. Well, we start to get little artifacts when I do that, so I got to be careful not to stretch it too far. It is just a single sound. Listen to that. How does that sound? So basically we've got... Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, and then to put the icing on the cake, what I like to do is I'm going to throw a little reverb on this thing, just kind of wet it up a bit and make it sound all nice. So I've got 3 reverb channels here. Let's take a look first on the Cannon Blast. Let's mute these other ones here. So we just got the Cannonball Blast, and let's get our reverb channel going. Okay, so from here, you gotta love that reverb. I love to sweeten it up, but this is going to give a really nice space sound. All of my effects have some space reverb on them, and just following suit with this one here. So the Cannon Blast, that gives it a much more, a larger sound. And it sounds like you're doing it in space, which is what I'm going for. So, okay, so then we got the rifle shot, which is really nice because this is going to give us our impact. And I have a kind of a short reverb on that. I want that to be an impact, big impact, and I want the other sounds to kind of trail off and be very airy and spacey. So as we can see, that sounds pretty good in there. And then we have, of course, our Cannon Whiz By, which I may have to adjust this. I put a lot on this one, and I want a lot on it. I want that to trail off. Yeah, see, that's cool. Now let's see what this sounds like all together here. Oh, that's so cool. See, that really sounds good. That has a nice sound. You know, I can even probably move this back a little bit. Let's experiment. Yeah, I like that. I want it to sound like one sound. I don't want it to sound like different. See, if we put this all the way out here like this, it's like 2 different events. If we put it too close, it actually works now with the reverb and the EQing, but I want it staggered just a little bit. Still sounds like 2. Let's back it up. There we go. That's where it's at. like that a whole bunch. Okay, and then from there, I just put a little. This is my ML1. This is my basically this is my master bus compression that brings all the levels up and makes it sound very, very sweet. It's kind of a nice little dusting of love on the top there. So with that all said and done, the sound for hitting the ball back to the UFO sounds like. Very cool. All right, guys. As always, I appreciate your support so much. It's been a crazy couple of months here, but really excited to be launching HorizonShift. It's coming out on the 29th. Of course, all of you guys have beta keys. I check your email on Patreon because I sent all beta keys to you guys there. I'd love for you guys to play it. Check it out and let me know what you think. And we have, in the Steam store page, we have a community hub, so if there's any bugs or issues, you can tell me, of course, but participate in there as well. That'd be really cool. So thanks again for watching, you guys. I'll do another video here in a week or so of updates, stuff that's going on as we get closer to launch. Be sure to follow me on the Twitch there because I'm doing some live streams of this game too, so to get promotion for it. So, but hope you've enjoyed the video, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great one, guys. See ya.